Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the our PHLY draft special, as we are live at JD McGillicuddy's right here in Manayunk. What a spot, man! This is fantastic. I got the guru, Franny Films. All right, Fran Duffy. I'm Anthony Gargano, and our draft summit show, the PHLY draft summit show, brought to you by Pabst Light and TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Visit PabstLight.com for more information. Head over to TrueMark.com for all the details as we get ready for a draft extravaganza. That's it. We have the draft summit. And we said good evening, my brother.
What's going on, man? We're 1 week out.
Well, all the work that you have put in over this period, all the hours and hours of film study, like what Franny does, you think about it, everybody's got a mock draft, right? But most people do mock drafts as to what they hear. Like, there's a lot of NFL reporters.
Yep.
They go, oh, I'm hearing this. And, half of them, because they're covering NFL teams, don't even watch college football, right? Franny's, these are his own opinions, right? Like, he's breaking down film the way coaches would, the way personnel guys would.
I try to. I think the big thing is that, and that's the thing, is I watch a lot of NFL film, obviously, and the big thing, I've always been a big believer. If you're going to cover the draft, you've got to cover the league, too. You've got to be able to watch NFL film. You have to see what plays. If I'm watching Jahdae Barron, the corner from Texas, and everybody and their mother says, hey, this guy's a top 15 pick, top 20 pick, I'm like, I don't like this part of his game. I don't like this part of his game. I worry that he's not necessarily like a top flight nickel, but this is a guy that plays as a fourth DB consistently. If you don't have that background, it's going to be tough to have assertive opinions on these players. So it's a lot of work. It's a year-round journey, but I'm excited that we're 1 week out.
Well, it's funny because we had this conversation today, literally today, and we were talking to Fran, and Franny we were talking about next year, and he's like, yeah, I'm looking, next year's going to be a big year. And one of our guys, who's terrific, one of our executives at PHLY at All City, which is the parent company, Sam Landman, my man Sam goes, wait a second, next year? And he went, yeah. He goes, I'll start. When will you start? Tell him.
A few weeks. So
yeah.
Look, we're 1 week out from this draft. I'll give myself a week before I'm watching, Kate Klubnik or Drew Aller or somebody from 2026.
And that's what it is.
That's it.
Every year, are you at 26? Are you at 27? 28? Like, that's what you're looking at. You're looking at the draft classes. Let's focus and start this summit with the Eagles.
Yeah.
Right? Because, there's a bit of a sea change this offseason when it comes to the roster with the Eagles. They made no bones about it that they needed to pair payroll. Right? Like, they were able to kind of navigate the cap a little bit by paying a lot of money up front. And, at some point, you got to make sure that you don't ruin your future.
Yes.
And so this is a pullback year. That they have talent doesn't mean they're going to pull back when it comes to success, but when it comes to salary and how they run their contracts, this is a pullback year.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where that if we're going to continue to be this way, you have to have years like this, because if you want to continue to pay Jalen Carter and Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and all these other guys coming down the pipe, it's not necessarily like a salary cap issue. It's a cash issue. It's a matter of making sure that we've got the funds on hand to be able to work the way that we want to work on a year-to-year basis. And so you're going to have years like this where you've got to make some tough choices.
And it's interesting because you brought it up, the cash issue. Like, when you paying a guy up front, a lot of that is determined to give you flexibility under the cap.
Yep.
But it's like you don't realize that that's real money. Right? Like when they go, oh, yeah, I gave you $40 million up front. That's $40 million hard dollars that's real. It may look like a number on the screen, and for us it doesn't mean anything,
right.
But it's legit. So that's, when you think about this stuff as a business, that's all a part of what's going on here. So we know that, and that brings me to the big story of the Eagles entering this draft, and that's Dallas Goedert.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it certainly feels like he has played his last game as an Eagle. It's not done until it's done, but just listening to Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni speak at the owners' meetings a couple weeks ago down in Florida, it feels like the end of the Dallas Goedert era here in Philadelphia. Now, they don't have a one-for-one replacement for Dallas Goedert on the roster right now. They've played eight or nine games without him this year, so they know they can get by without him. But at the end of the day, you'd still like to have an A-plus talent at that position. How often have we heard Nick Sirianni say that the pass game runs through A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert? So he would always include Dallas in there because we know how important he is, and he also has that huge impact on the run game. And so you're not going to find a one-for-one replacement, even in the draft. No. They're going to have to figure out a way to kind of do that with a group effort. But I would be surprised if we got out of, say, day 2 and they didn't have a tight end.
Well, that's what I was thinking about. I'm thinking I don't see it on Thursday, but I think Friday.
Yep.
I think Friday, rounds 2 and 3, I think that's when you'll see your tight end.
Yeah. It's a good class for it, and that's the one thing that works in their favor.
Now, the kid I love is Taylor. We've talked about him before. I don't think he'll be there.
Yeah.
I think he's either late first, early second. I think in that. Where do you have Taylor at?
Yeah, so I did my 7-round mock draft, which is up right now on allphly.com, and it's all 7 rounds, all 32 teams. So it's 257 picks and explanations for every single selection. Now, let me before you just go further, right? Because I printed this out. I wanted to print it out. Yeah, well, I don't know why you printed it out. I would have kept you from doing it.
No, but I love this. This is so unbelievable. Like, Franny will go. Pick 165, Daquan Felton from Virginia Tech. All right?
He's a good player.
Now, he is a good player. Now, look what he gives you, right? He gives you a real write-up. This isn't just, he gives you everything from Felton is similar in a lot of ways to the players that took in this stretch a year ago, and Johnny Wilson, right? So we know he's a bigger body, 6'5", 213. Felton is strong through contact, explosive traits on film, and he had a solid week of practice at the Senior Bowl a couple months ago. Then he goes on and on. This is what you get. I hear these draft guys, I go, all right, some are good or whatever. Ain't like him. I'm sorry.
I appreciate it. So let me ask you this.
So let me ask you about Taylor.
Yeah, so Taylor.
Where do you have him going?
I have him going in the 40s, I believe. And I put in the write-up. I was like, he's going to go earlier than this. It was just,
I think he does.
Yeah. When I do a mock draft, I'm doing it pick by pick, right? It's not like, I definitely want to get this guy here and this guy there, and I'll pick it. It's, all right, pick number 1, it's going to be Cam Ward. All right, pick number 2, pick number 3, and you go right down the line. And so I got to this point, and I'm like, Mason Taylor's still on the board. So I put in the write-up, he's going to go earlier than this. So I'm looking at these teams in the back end of the first round. The earliest, I would say, that he would fit Baltimore. They're moving on from Mark Andrews. They've got Isaiah Likely.
Yeah, but that's not
enough.
And
he's entering a contract year, Likely. So I would say that would probably be the high point for Mason Taylor.
I would agree.
He would make some sense there. But after that, Detroit, they're not taking him. Washington just took a tight end in the second round last year. Buffalo took Kincaid in the first round a couple years ago. 31, you've got the Chiefs. I don't think that they would take him. So my guess is if he's going to go that high, it would be Baltimore, unless there's a team that trades down, in which case the LA Rams would be one that I would watch for.
Yeah,
that would be a team that would make sense.
They need it so bad.
Yes.
It's amazing they've gone this. Really, they haven't had Higbee's been their guy, and it's just not good enough.
They have talked in the past, the LA Rams. One of the things I do is, and you'll appreciate this, I listen to as many head coach and GM press conferences as possible from around the league. And usually it's all right, combine, immediately after the season, the GM will speak, owners' meetings, and I just try and glean as much information. The post-draft is a big one. And I keep a catalog on all these guys. So you
have a file with, say, Lions, and you'll have all the Lions stuff.
So, like LA Rams, I can tell you, one of the things that the LA Rams have consistently talked about after drafts, when they select players, they like NFL bloodlines. All right, Mason Taylor, son of Hall of Famer Jason Taylor.
Wow.
That makes a lot of sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
They love to be able to get offensive playmakers from McVay. It was a defense-heavy draft a year ago. I really do feel he will be an offensive player.
Yeah.
Yes, he's paid his dues. I think he's doing it. Mason Taylor to the Rams.
Yeah.
We're connecting dots. This is what you do when you're going through this exercise.
In fact, I love that. I love that. In fact, Jules, what did I do? I hear my pen's in here. Because I'm taking notes as we speak. Because stuff like that, we get ideas, and I like that a lot. I can totally see that. So let's go into it. I know people, how we are in Philadelphia, right? Like, we lead with our heart.
Yes.
Right? Because I was asked a question the other day at one of the Little League games. Hey, Ant, I heard the Eagles are trading up for Warren. And that was my reaction. I was like, no, brother. Well, I heard they were going to give up, like half their draft. I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. But let's look at the tight ends that could be available for the Eagles. And before we get to Thursday, since we're on the Goddard topic, what tight ends do you see? I mean, we talked about Arroyo, you and I, from Miami.
Yeah.
Give me the tight ends that you think will be available that they may look at in round 2 or 3.
So Arroyo would be the first name that pops into my mind. And to me, when I look at Arroyo, what's a separating factor for him, he's so dynamic at the tight end position. This is a guy that has the ability to create with the ball in his hands. We've talked about that with Dallas Goedert in the past. That's what is one of the things that makes him special, is his ability, on the screen game, the RPO game, those little underneath routes where he's running to the flat, to turn that into an explosive play. When I look at Arroyo, I mean, special numbers after the catch. He averaged nearly 9 yards after the catch per reception over the course of his career.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just insane. That's almost a first down every time you get the ball into this guy's hands. But also, like, typically when you see a guy that has those kind of numbers, it's usually, it's a lot of dump-offs because then he's able to catch and run. He's also targeted vertically down the field at a higher rate than any tight end I've seen coming out in the last 10 years. So he is a vertical threat, but then also has that ability to turn and catch and run. Now, you're saying, well, why is this guy going so late? He's been there 4 years at Miami. This past year was the only year where he was really fully healthy. He only had 11 catches in his entire career coming into the season. And so when you're looking at Arroyo, you got to bet on the durability.
He's also not a good blocker.
He is like an average blocker.
Yeah, he'll try, but he's not good at it.
Yeah, he's not going to be I would say he's better than Calcaterra.
Right.
Not as good. Goddard is A+.
Yes.
Yeah, Goddard's A+. You're going to miss that. You're not going to replace that right now.
No.
There are tight ends in this draft that can do it.
Yeah.
But they're not the receiver that Goddard is. That's what makes Goddard special.
Yeah. All right, you got Arroyo. Let's go down the list in the tight end spot.
Let's go Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green. Now
we know about the quarterback coach.
No question. So they hired Scott Loeffler to be the quarterback's coach. He was previously the head coach at Bowling Green, where Harold Fannin last year, listen to these numbers for a tight end, 117 catches. 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns for a tight end. He had 9 carries for 65 yards and another touchdown as well.
Yeah, that's sick.
Ridiculous. They funneled the offense
crazy
through this player.
Yeah.
So when you are looking at Harold Fannin Jr., undersized, 6'3", 240 pounds, he's a gawky athlete. He's a little duck-footed. You see him get in and out of breaks. It doesn't look sexy. But, man, the guy is just so productive. He catches everything. The routes are pretty good. It's like Arroyo where he gives effort as a blocker, but at that size, there are limitations. But I kind of appreciate the chip that he does play with, but it seems like he's probably going to go third round. You can't argue with the production. He's young, only a true junior. There's a lot to like there, and obviously familiar with the coaching staff.
Yeah, we'll know what Loeffler really thinks of him. Because...
Right. Yep.
When you have that kind of intel, you're going to go, listen, you got to take this kid, So it'll be interesting to see, where he fits as it relates to Arroyo. All right? Who else?
So after that, I think there's a slight teardrop for me.
Yeah, you're not going to go. I don't think that's a day 2. There's nobody left, right?
Actually, there's one more guy that's getting some day 2 buzz, and that's from Oregon. He's actually a player we talked about Tyler Higbee earlier. This kid really reminds me of Higbee, and that's Terrence Ferguson from Oregon.
Right.
Went to the Senior Bowl, had a solid performance down there, went to the Combine, had one of the better workouts at the position at the Combine. 6'5", 250 pounds, 3-year starter at Oregon. More receiver than blocker. He's honestly very similar to Mason Taylor. I think when you're looking at Mason Taylor skill set wise, he's just been a better player in the SEC. He's younger, but it's like a Diet Coke version. Terrence Ferguson. I do think it sounds like he's going to go anywhere in the top 90 picks.
Wow.
He could sneak into the back end of round 2. There's been some buzz there. So Terrence Ferguson would be the other guy. By the end of Friday night, he will find a home.
All right. So here you go. Those are the 3 tight ends that are going to be involved where the Eagles are going to be picking in day 2, 3. We don't think that they'll go tight end. I don't see that on Thursday.
What if Taylor falls at 32? If he's there at 32? I think that's the move?
It depends on 2 things. One, how does the board look with the relation to some of the suspect players, right? Because let's get into it now, because now you lead me right into it, my man.
It's like we've done it before.
Because the two guys that I know the Eagles cut, they like, right? But they're slotted to go before them, right? Is Walter Nolen and Reed.
Yeah, Mike Green from Mike Green from Marshall. Insane production this past year. Honestly, both players had really strong seasons for their respective teams. We'll start with Mike Green. Undersized pass rusher, compact frame. I actually had him going to the Chiefs in my mock draft, and one of the comparisons I made, he might remind Andy Reid of Trent Cole. I think when you look at the play personality, he's extremely violent. This is a high collision, high impact player, run game and pass game. I worry a little bit about the size. He's really bendy and flexible, but not super explosive. And so to me, when I'm looking at a guy with that size, I want A-plus traits, and that's what gives me a little bit of pause, but you can't argue with the production. I talked about this.
Somebody told me he's got great ferocity, is what they said.
I mean, the violence is apparent the moment you turn him on, and that's one of the things I love about his game. 6'3", 250, very short arms, but this is a guy who this past year, 23 TFLs, 17 sacks in 13 games. I mean, extreme production.
I mean, those numbers are ridiculous. College. That's amazing.
And look, they played. It wasn't just a Sun Belt schedule. They played Ohio State. They played Virginia Tech. He had sacks in both games. He goes to the Senior Bowl. Had a solid week down there. A couple days of practice. One of the clips that went viral over the course of the week, where he just destroyed the tackle from Oregon. Josh Connerly caught him on a play and knocked him horizontal on the rep. So the violence apparent on that play.
And then Nolen tackle, who I love. I mean, everybody loves him. In fact, I was talking to somebody, and they went, if somehow the Eagles were able to trade up to get him, because you have to be in a spot where it's a tradable spot, him next to Carter would be one of the all-time not fair kind of lines.
I mean, one of the names I wrote down while watching him for the first time in October was Jalen Carter. Because of the traits. I think when you're looking at Walter Nolen, he's not Jalen Carter. No, otherwise, he'd be going higher. No. But I think when you're looking at the combination of quickness, explosiveness, and power, the ability to win at the top of the rush, what he can do in the run, I mean, he's a really phenomenal player. But here's the thing, though, Ant, is that I'm watching him, and I'm starved. This draft is starving for blue chip talent. So I'm watching. It was middle of the fall, and I said, yep, this guy's one of those guys. He's a top 20 pick in any draft. And we get through the fall, he goes to the Senior Bowl. I thought he was good down there. But a lot of the mock drafts have him kind of back into the first round, sometimes out of the first. A lot of mock drafts have him falling out of round one. And there's questions about the maturity, what happened at Texas A&M. He's there for 2 years, then he leaves. What happened there? All I can tell you, this kid is a phenomenal football player. Is it always consistent? He gets moved off the ball a little bit, little things from a technique standpoint that he can improve on, but the traits are all there. I would love to take this guy in the top 20.
So when we come back, we're going to take a quick respite. When we come back, we're going to talk about the idea of character issues and kind of what that means, all right? It's a part of this thing. And I don't think that we as fans even realize, because you hear little things. This goes back to Warren Sapp, right? Who, by the way, should have been drafted, right? But back then, goes in the second round.
I think it was late first round.
Yeah, late first. Because I remember he go, take Warren Sapp. But there was issues with weed and whatever. Dan Marino was that same thing.
Yep.
So we'll get into that a little bit. But first, we are live right here in Manayunk, and we love this. This is J.D. McGillicuddy's. It's a great spot, man, right here in Manayunk. It is an awesome spot. Food, you have the cheesesteak. It's cheesesteak night. In fact, I was talking to Kyle Newbeck's parents, who are awesome. The Newbecks, we love the Newbecks, and Kyle's dad said, "This is my local, all right? We love it here. We're here all the time. So the food's awesome. You're gonna love it. And tonight, it's Pabst Light night, all right? So come in and grab your Pabst Light. In fact, you want to get me a Pabst Light? Come on, this is my girl.
That's the through line.
Yeah. Say hello to the people. No, say hello to people. No, I have it. You don't have to. I'm just joking around. All right?
Absolutely.
All right? Nobody's more Philadelphia.
Northeast Philly.
Yeah.
There we go.
She's like, are you at Chicky still? I go, yeah. Now she's with Muller.
There we go.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, let me tell you about Golden Nugget Jewelers. Golden Nugget Jewelers has operated out of the same location, the heart of Philadelphia, for the past 30 years. All right, I've been telling you about Golden Nugget for at least 25 of them. All right, right in this heart of Jewelers Row in Center City. People come from everywhere, across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Baltimore. They all come to Golden Nugget Jewelers to find that perfect engagement ring or wedding band. Their staff is amazing. They have a vast selection of engagement rings, wedding bands, high-end watches, fashion jewelry, sparkling diamond necklaces, bracelets, earrings, you name it. All right, you'll get a final cleaning and a written appraisal with every engagement ring purpose. I'm telling you, my man Yaron is the owner. I've known Yaron forever. He's wonderful. I've sent scores of guys to go get their rings at Golden Nugget Jewelers. You got to go check it out. It's amazing. You'll love the experience. Wonderful people. It'll work within your budget. All right, Golden Nugget Jewelers, family owned and operated, your own, since 1987 in the heart of Jewelers Row in Center City, 8th and Chestnut. You deserve an expert and the best price. Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged. GoldenNuggetJewelry.com to learn more. All right, also, let me tell you about Rothman. Oh, back out of whack, shoulder, elbow. I can feel it right now because I've been pitching to Massimo. And I throw 100 pitches and I'm done for like 2 weeks. And then he's like, come and throw to me, Daddy. And I God.
You're better than me. I got 50 in me. The fact you're going 100, I need to make a stopover, Rothman.
Yeah, but again, my 100 is not like I'm throwing 90, right? That's all you got, Daddy? All right, relax, kid. You little punk. All right? All kidding aside, you get older, you start to hit your 40s, you start to feel cracks and, the whole thing. Trust me, Rothman, whether it's running, golfing, playing with the grandkids, your kids, like in my case. All right, Rothman's experts specialize in treating all types of muscular, skeletal issues. They focus on high-quality, compassionate care that'll have you feeling better and back to doing what you love. All right? So if pain's slowing you down, take action. Head over to RothmanOrtho.com/PHLY. Schedule your appointment today. They have a team for every body part. All right? Hip, knee, spine, back, shoulder, hand. You got neck. I mean, you name it. All right, ankle. I had my Achilles done at Rothman. Amazing. Rothman Orthopedics. Your mobility is their mission. All right. Thank you. Welcome back. This is the Draft Summit, the 2025 Draft Summit with the expert, our man, Franny Films. Doesn't get better than Franny Films. All right, so let's talk about character issues for a second, because it's a huge part of this thing. And we don't know. There's a war chest of information that we don't know about players. Are they smart? Are they not? Are they football smart? Are they not? What kind of character are they? Are they team guys? Are they me guys? Are they tough guys? Are they soft guys? Are they bad guys? All right? Yep. Now everybody's got issues, right? There's phones, there's things that everybody, some issues, you know what? Not the kid's fault, right? Sometimes kid's fault, right? There's a wide variety of spectrum. One of the reasons why they interview you. One of the reasons why they go over and over things. One of the reasons why they ask ridiculous questions. They have the team psychologist. I mean, you name it, right? They want to just kind of poke and probe. It's like what they do with medical, they're going to do with mental. So it's a big deal.
Yeah, and there's so many different layers to it, as you mentioned. And the big thing, too, is that every team is going to look at it differently. Not all 32 teams are going to look at the same player and come to the same conclusion. And you also have to take into account the factor of who you already have in your building. So if you've got, we'll say, Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham in your defensive line room, then you could take more risks with defensive linemen because hey, you know what, we're going to bring them in, and those guys are going to take them under their wing, right? Where if you don't have veterans in your room, if you don't have guys that are there, well, then maybe you're a little bit more conservative with it. And so that's an example that a team, I'm not saying that's the case with the Eagles, but that's what each team is asking themselves when you have these kind of situations pop up. And it's, as you mentioned, too, where it could be intelligence, football intelligence, could be character in terms of how are they going to. Do my teammates like you?
Right.
Does the coach like you? Does the coach want to coach you? Because a lot of times you'll see when you look at 30 visits, teams are bringing in 7 linebackers. All right, linebacker coach meets with all of them, and the coach might just say, hey, I like to coach this guy, and this guy. I don't know how you stack them on the board, but these are the 3 that I like most, just on a personal level. And the GM, it's up to the decision maker to take all of that information in and make the best choice. You only get 7 of them on average every year. You got to make 7 of those calls.
And see, here's the other thing that people don't realize is that these veteran football coaches, they're like dogs, like instincts.
Yeah.
Like they could tell you right, they sniff it. Nah, this kid's not a player. Like they could tell you, they could sniff it on you.
Yep.
They'll tell you, like, this kid's a baller. I can see it. I like the way the kid. I get the good vibe off the guy. The whole thing. The Eagles do have a huge advantage. All right. Dominic.
Yeah, I mean,
all right.
the best there is at it.
I know people think, oh, Big Dom, and he's fun, and he's like this cartoon character. He is really good at his job, all right? Dominic knows, first of all, is like a PI, all right? So he can find out any information on you. He's got contacts in all kinds of law enforcement everywhere between, all the whole country, FBI, Homeland Security, I mean, you name it. He's that guy. He's a fixer. He knows how to, sift through guys. He's also well-liked by the players. The players respect him. That's the one thing. He's big, all right? So the players look at him. He's got size. He's a cool guy, right? Like, he's got swag. And the players respect that, which is a big deal.
And not just the players in Philadelphia.
No.
Players around the NFL.
Yeah.
call Dom for things that they need. And not even just football players, athletes around. It's amazing his reach. Web. Yes.
Yeah. Like, if you get any kind of problem, but even beyond that, Dom is really legit. He's well liked.
Yeah.
And so,
for good reason.
But he's respected.
Yep.
So if he tells a player, yo, dude, calm down, you're going to mess up your career, and he'll talk to you, and he's going to talk to you like you get talked to on the street, right? It's not for the faint of heart. They listen to him.
Yep.
So that's a big deal. That's something the Eagles. So I believe. Now I'm just guessing, but I do believe that Walter Nolen and Green are both green lit. Because what happens is you got red light, green light.
Yep.
Red light is nope. I don't care what happens. He's not on our board. X. He doesn't appear on our board. The green light is all right. We can deal with him. He's on the board.
And it's like that with the medical as well. That's how it works for medical. You're either green lit. And it's like, okay, is it a green light or a yellow light?
Right.
It's like, all right, well, we take him high, or maybe we can take that chance we get to day 3. Or it's just, no matter what, like, this guy's off the board. And this is around the time, it was probably about a week ago, as teams were starting to get that intel from the combine medical check, the recheck. Because basically what happens is the NFL will bring back, we'll call it like a dozen to 2 dozen players, back to Indianapolis in late March, mid-March, for a medical recheck, a month after the combine. Guys that just got late surgeries or had a surgery in the season that now they're recovering from. You get that intel, and then it's thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yep.
And there are a lot of guys that they just get completely taken off the board. That's when a guy like DK Metcalf falls to the late second round, it's because a lot of teams were like, he's off the board because of the back.
Yeah, the Eagles had him off the board.
Yeah, right.
I remember talking to Howie. Well, don't do DK Metcalf. No, it wasn't medicals, dude.
No.
Medicals.
Yep.
By the way, the Bills and Trey White reached an agreement.
Oh.
1 year, $6.8 million. All right.
He's lost a step or two, but I loved him at LSU, man.
Oh, my God. I love Tre'Davious White. All right. Let's go into what the Eagles will do. All right. Eagles stay put. Give us 5 names that you're thinking.
All right.
Or whatever.
Yeah, sure. We'll go through a few. The most popular name in terms of even if at 32 in mock drafts is Walter Nolen. We've talked about Nolen. You and I believe it's probably going to require a trade up to get Walter Nolen. I would say after that, one player that I would keep an eye on would be the edge rusher Nick Scourton from Texas A&M, a player that was in Philadelphia for a visit last week. Took a picture with Brandon Graham, posted that on social media. That's a lot of fun. The big thing when you're looking at Scourton, one of the youngest players in the draft, doesn't turn 21 until later this summer, led the Big Ten in sacks as a 19-year-old 2 years ago as a sophomore. He was about 265 at that point, 265 pounds. So he leads the Big Ten in sacks at Purdue, and he says, all right, I'm going to go into the transfer portal. Goes in the transfer portal, goes to Texas A&M, new coaching staff. They had guys going out, so he's not going to go down to A&M. I want to focus on my run defense. I proved what I could do as a rusher. I'm going to add weight, prove to the NFL that I can be like that true every down sturdy defensive end. Puts on 20 pounds, gets him north of 280. Just didn't look great. You tell he lost some juice off the ball, wasn't as explosive, was not as productive, wasn't as efficient as a rusher this past year for A&M. Goes to the combine. He gets down under 260. He looks like a different player. He looks like the version that you saw in 2023. Now, depending on who you talk to, some people say that Texas A&M was the one who told him to put on the weight. Some people say that hey, he took it upon himself. He wanted it, but it wasn't like he ate too many cheesesteaks. He lost it. It was that he just made a bad call.
Right.
Whatever it was, put on that weight. Well, now the weight's off. It's 265. He's a good player, and so that would be a guy that if they're there late in the first round, I didn't love Scourton as a top 15 pick coming into the season, but seeing him here, at 32, I think that would make a lot of sense. So that would be one name certainly to keep in mind.
All right. Who else you got?
All right, another name I would keep an eye on. I think that you start looking at offensive linemen, and one name that has consistently gone to the back end of round one in mock drafts. In my mock, he actually fell to the 32nd pick. That's Ohio State left tackle Josh Simmons. Now, one of the things with Simmons is that his film, he was well on his way to being a top 10 pick this year. Redshirt junior, started his career at San Diego State as a right tackle, transferred to Ohio State 2 seasons ago, played left tackle, was a little up and down in 2023. Came out of the gates this year just a beast. Run game, pass game, guys couldn't get past him. He was moving people off the ball. He's finishing guys to the dirt. Problem is they didn't play anybody to start the year. The defensive lines they went up against were a little bit weaker, the lower level of competition teams. First big game, mid-October against Oregon. Yeah. Great D-line. He tears his patellar tendon in the second quarter. So when he gets hurt in that game, now all of a sudden he's out for the year. And we don't get to see him against Penn State and Abdul Carter. We don't get to see him against Michigan and Josiah Stewart. We don't get to see him in the college football playoff and James Pierce and that gauntlet of defensive lines that they went through. So we don't get to see it. The torn patellar, that's where the injury that Nakobe Dean's going through. That's a tricky injury when it comes to athleticism. So that's going to cause him to fall a little bit. This is a guy that could have gone in the top 10. Is he going to be there at 32 potentially? How do you feel about the Eagles drafting a tackle? If you're committed to Lane Johnson, you're committed to Jordan Mailata, he could be the best player on the board. Are they in that spot where they want to take a guy that might have to sit for a year or two?
Or two.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, I'm not in love with that idea.
Yep.
If he was a swing guy, but he can't go inside. So I just don't think. And listen, you can never have enough tackles. I get it.
Yep.
But when you're using that kind of draft equity for it.
What if he can move to guard? So
do you think he can move inside?
We were talking about this on the show today, myself and Bo Wolf. And,
really?
And it was
because I didn't hear it. I heard the other opposite.
I hadn't heard it either, and so I was like, all right, I don't know. And so I sent some texts around, and they were like, yeah, we haven't talked. No one's really talked about it because he's such a good tackle, but there's no reason why he can't play guard. And honestly, going back through my notes, I'm like, yeah, the things that make me worry about a guy playing guard is if he doesn't have the anchor.
Right.
If you don't have an anchor against a 265-pound defensive end, you're not going to have an anchor against a 300-pound defensive tackle. He's plenty strong, and so I do think that he can do it. We just haven't talked about it because he's been such a good tackle. And so that was one that, okay, if you feel like he can play guard, you can sell me on it a little bit more.
Well, I do think that they have some issues at guard.
Yeah. I mean, it's Kenyon Green and Tyler Steen. You're competing for that right guard spot.
Yeah, and you wonder about Steen, and, you got some real concern about him.
Yeah, it's
I think they do.
Right, and when you have Kenyon Green, who's been up and down, and is certainly last year more down than up, that's going to be a concern, with Kenyon Green with that right guard spot. So that would be an interesting one if they decide to go offensive line. The other position is safety.
Wow.
Two guys I absolutely adore in this class. Both in the SEC, both of them true juniors. They're a little bit different stylistically. I love both, so I don't think you can go wrong either way. Malaki Starks from Georgia and Nick Imanwari from South Carolina.
Yeah.
The skinny on both. Imanwari, physical freak. 6'2", 220 pounds, freak athlete, blew up the combine. You see that athleticism on film. He is the new age strong safety. He can match up against backs and tight ends. He can come down and run the alley. He can play in the box. He can do a lot of different things for you as a defense. You go to Malaki Starks, he's more your traditional top-down defensive player. Play him from depth as a split safety. In his college, he played in the slot. He's not going to be a slot corner in the NFL, but you love that he was asked to do it. He showed the coverage chops, outstanding ball skills. He's tough as nails. Both guys have A-plus character. So when I look at both of those guys, I don't think the Eagles can go wrong. My guess is both are probably off the board. When I did my mock draft this week, both were off. But safeties, that's a position that tends to fall. Quarterbacks go higher than you expect. Tackles go higher. Pass rushers go higher. Safeties tend to fall. Tight ends tend to fall. And so there's a chance that one of those two is on the board.
So it's funny because I love Starks.
Yep.
I mean, both of them, I agree with you.
Both are great players.
But I love Starks.
Yeah.
Like, Starks could be exciting. I just don't. Do you see it? I don't see them taking the safety.
It would be surprising to me. What it would take, it would be a situation where they get to 32. He's on the board. He's the last player with that level of grade on the board, and they can't trade out. Right? You can't get somebody to come up for a player that you have a lesser grade on. So you stick there and you pick, and you would take Malaki Starks.
Yeah.
So that to me, like, if that were to happen a week from now, I'd be ecstatic. I would love it because he's a great player.
Yeah.
But I would be a little surprised if that was the end result next Thursday night.
All right. What's the ceiling for trading up from 32?
Yep.
What is the ceiling?
I would say,
Chris, get me a glass. I'll drink one for the team. Chris, get me a glass. Give me a nice mug. I like the glass. I'm an aristocrat. All right? And I'll drink one for the team.
So what makes
thanks to our friends at Pabst Light.
Of course.
I mean, that's right, brother.
So what makes it tough this year is that because of the way that the talent is kind of dispersed this year, it's not a great draft, and everybody knows it's not a great draft. So I want the trade value chart. I think will be very interesting this year and how teams play it. Some teams might be willing to play ball and say, all right, well, maybe the going rate won't be what our standard is. There are other teams that might be like, screw you. Why would I give you less?
Yeah.
Why would we give you more for a lower price? And so,
especially to Howie.
Exactly right.
He's already a marked man.
There's no question about it. And so, if you were to say, what do you want to give up? You want to give up your 2? First and second to move up for somebody? You want to give up your 3?
I would do it for Nolen. 3.
All right, so if you're going to give up your 3, I'm just doing quick math in my head.
Yeah.
That can get you roundabout your 3 and maybe like your one of your 5s might get you to 24 to Minnesota.
Okay.
Now, Minnesota, that's a GM that will typically play ball.
Yeah.
Kwesi Adofo-Mensah loves to deal up and typically will trade up, and he has made some deals that with the standard trade value chart have gone against it from a value standpoint. He's been criticized for it in the media. So that might be one where maybe it's just a 3.
Yeah.
You get up to 24.
Yeah.
You're getting ahead of.
I get a 5 back,
Yeah, something along those lines. You might be able to swing that.
Yeah. I got a ton of chips to play.
You do, especially next year, knowing the comp picks that you have coming your way.
Right. Thank you, brother.
That could be a situation too, where hey, we're going to deal next year's 3, or a situation like that. The way I'm looking, if I had to say all right, all the different iterations of what could happen here next Thursday night, my best guess would be a trade back out of round 1 and a trade up. From the end of round 2 up into the middle of round 2. So you get 2 guys there in the top, we'll say 70 picks.
So I can see that. I can see that. Except the only thing is, look, we know this draft, and you know it inside and out. This is not a great draft.
No.
And so, once you get past the first 8, it's a slide.
It is. It's going to be fun. Someone asked me, they were like, does it kind of suck that the first draft you're covering is a little lackluster? And I said, in a way, yeah, but also that Thursday is going to be really fun. It's going to be very unpredictable. There
Yeah.
are players that literally he could go 12. Matthew Golden, the wide receiver
Yeah.
from Texas, he could go 12 to Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
He could be a Cowboy.
Yeah.
I had him falling out of my first round.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of players where it's like, I could see him going 14.
Yeah.
I could see him going 29.
Yeah.
I could see him going 31. I could see him going 42. It's one of those drafts where there are a bunch of players that are all clumped together,
Yeah.
and it's going to be beauty in the eye of the beholder. Some teams are going to say, yep, we like this guy going that high. So now a lot of people look at this. You could look at it one of two ways. Early on, I was like, I don't think there's going to be a lot of trades. I think everyone's going to say, oh, I'm not giving up ammo if everybody's clumped together. The dynamic that could happen, though, is let's say you're the Eagles. You're the Eagles, and you've got blue chip grades on 10 guys, and it's 17, and one of those 10 players is there. Now you're making a move to go up. And that's not the Eagles, that's every team.
Yeah.
So that could lead to a lot of trades.
Yes.
Because if there are these big clusters, not everybody views every player the same way.
That's right.
One team might view this guy as above everybody else, and that's when you get a lot of trades. So it could get fun. It could get crazy.
Yeah. I actually think it'll be a lot of trades. I think it could be a blast for you. There's no draft that's a bummer, all right? It's a draft.
Exactly right. I mean,
All
come
right?
on.
Come on now. So give me a grouping. So we have Taylor, we have Fanning, Arroyo, Ferguson, Nolen, Green, Scourton, Simmons, Starks, Ojulari.
Yep. Okay.
Anybody else that could be in play if they trade back?
Just going through my board here. I don't envision. I mean, you could talk. I guess a corner, right? Oh, what are your thoughts on a corner high?
No, delicious.
Yeah, right.
No.
I don't see an off-ball
I don't see
linebacker,
it.
Jahdae Campbell.
Nah.
No, I don't think so either.
No.
I think you start getting if they were to trade back, there are a couple pass rushers I think that definitely fit their mentality, that fit the Vic Fangio defense. Landon Jackson from Arkansas and JT Tuimoloau from Ohio State. JT Tuimoloau is a player that I've liked for the last couple of years. If you are a Penn State fan, and which I know we've got a lot of Penn State fans on,
you would know that.
He has terrorized Penn State over the course of his career.
Yes.
A 3-year starter, 3-time first team All Big Ten, had his best year this year. He did everything he could to get Olu Fashanu out of the first round. The 2 years those guys went up against each other. Look, I've watched it. This guy's just rock solid. He is not as sexy as some of these other rushers. He's not the most explosive, but this guy is powerful, and he knows that he's powerful. The big thing that people lose with rushing the passer, I think a lot of people, it's like, oh, it's all speed, speed, speed. All you need one go-to move, and you need a fastball and a changeup. And if you know how to set that changeup up and use the changeup to complement the fastball, you are cooking with gas. And you can expand on that.
It's a great analogy.
That's it. That's all you need.
It's so true.
And so, like, Tuimoloau, I watch him. I'm like, okay, because I think of it as Josh Sweat.
Yeah.
Josh Sweat had no idea what he was doing when he first got to Philly, right? That first year, redshirt year, he's worked. Then you see, all right, he's working that long arm move.
Yeah.
All right, so that second year, he does a great job working the bull rush and the long arm move and the timing of it, sets it up well, goes speed to power. Then that third year was where he took that big step. That's where he started incorporating that ghost move. And the ghost move is where you're going to fake the inside, the long arm. You're going to get the tackle to lunge as if you're coming, and then you're dipping past it and you're running back. Fastball, change up. And now he's keeping guys guessing. Is he going to go with the long arm? No, it's the ghost. That's it. Dwight Freeney, speed, 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 inside spin. That's all. That's it.
And he had a Hall of Fame career.
Hall of Fame career.
Yeah.
Speed and inside spin.
Yeah.
So when I look at JT Tuimoloau, I see a guy who knows, hey, my bread is buttered as a pass rusher with power. I'm going to win with my bull rush. And then he has a couple moves in his bag that he does a nice job of complementing that bull rush. I appreciate players like that. He's a great run defender. He's an outstanding kid. I don't know if you've heard anything about him off the field, but just aces
he's a
there.
really good kid, yeah.
So I just feel really good about this guy being a long-time NFL starter.
All right. So let's the rest of this hour we're going to finish the Eagles.
Yep.
And then we'll dive into the mock and then then Franny's top 5. But let's dive into the rest of the draft. Right? We covered like the first round. You did an Eagles 7-round mock. So let's look at it. So you have Scourton going at 36.
Yeah, but I had him trading out of 32, going down to 36 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They took Scourton there, yep.
And then you got Jaylen Reed from Penn State going at 126.
Yep. So going to the fourth
Oh, wait,
round.
I missed. I'm sorry. Hold
You're
on.
good. You're good. You're good.
No,
You skipped
the
a
way
couple,
I did this.
skipped a couple rounds.
Right. No, then you got Arroyo, which I freaking love. If you came away
I know. I felt good about
with
that.
those two,
Yeah, I felt good about that.
dude, I'm doing cartwheels.
And again, I do this. I don't do it where I'm like, oh, I want to make sure that the Eagles get Arroyo. I'm going pick by pick. So Arroyo goes off the board. The Eagles are, he's off the board. I was.
Wow.
He got to 64. I'm like, oh, Arroyo's there. That's a slam dunk pick. I don't know if he's going to make it. Like I said,
Dude, I love the way that if this felt like that,
yeah,
oh my God.
It folded very well.
Yeah. And then at 96, you go with Jalen Travis from Iowa State.
Yes.
I got to see what Rocco Beck says about him.
Big swing tackle. Started his career at Princeton. He was a high school basketball player. Didn't play football until his junior year. So he's under-recruited. Goes to Princeton. Learns how to play tackle there. Starts at right tackle. Starts at left tackle. Then he moves over to Iowa State this year. And he, honestly, didn't miss a beat. He's got power. He moves people off the ball. They can run the ball at Iowa State. I like Jalen Travis as a potential starter, but I feel really good about a high-end swing backup.
And then you got
that's where Jaylen Reed comes off the board,
right,
the Penn State safety.
So then you got, after that, we're going to go with, this is an interesting pick you have. So you then go with Barrett Carter.
Yeah. Linebacker from Clemson.
Yeah.
So he played with Jeremiah Trotter Jr. the last couple of years. High character. Intangibles are outstanding. Good athlete. I would say better athlete than Trotter. Trotter was a better box player. Was probably a little bit more productive. Was around the ball a little bit more. But Carter, I just feel a little bit better about the overall upside just because of the athleticism. Different kind of player. But honestly, a guy that, let's bring him in. He can compete with Trotter if you want to bring in another vet to compete in camp while Nakobe Dean's on the men. We don't know when Nakobe's going to be back at 100%. I think you do need to bring a guy in to compete with Trotter in that spot.
So this is fascinating that you have, because at 161,
yeah,
LeQuint Allen.
Local kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, running back out of Syracuse.
Play with my boy, Kyle McCord.
Yeah, I like LeQuint Allen. And honestly, when you lose a player like Kenny Gainwell, who can help you on third down, he can do a little bit of goal line short yardage, you need someone that can chip in a lot of different ways. And I know that they like Will Shipley. He could take on some of that pass game load stuff. But honestly, when I look at LeQuint Allen, he's a bigger back than what Shipley brings. I think he could do a little bit more between the tackles. But Allen, some of his best stuff is on third down. He is a highlight receiver down the field.
And he's young.
He's young. He doesn't have a lot of mileage on the tires. Shipley had a lot of carries on him. When you're looking at Allen, he was never really that workhorse back. I talked with somebody on that coaching staff about him, and he said when we first got here, we thought about moving him to safety. Because he was like that kind of athlete, big, broad, and he's like, I'm going to play offense, coach. I want to play offense. So they put him at running back, and he figured it out along the way. This kid's got pass game chops, willing blocker. I think that's a perfect day 3 swing there at the running back spot.
Yeah. What high school did he go to?
He went to, I can tell you in one sec, he would have been, I'm sure Zach Berman's probably watching this, and Zach knows exactly where he went to high school. So he's a Millville, New Jersey guy.
Yeah,
he went to Millville. He went to Millville High
yeah.
School. State Gatorade Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Played basketball there at Millville.
So my Anthony plays for St. Augustine. He's a freshman, so he played freshman. But we played Millville, St. Augustine. So that's right.
That's right there in the neighborhood.
There's good football in South Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
You got St. Joe's Prep, which is ridiculous, right? That's a pro,
Sure.
Danny's with us all the time. And then you got some really good programs in South Jersey.
Yeah.
It's fun stuff.
No question.
Then you got Ty Hamilton.
Defensive tackle, Ohio State.
This is interesting because I thought he would be gone by then.
Yeah, it's a great defensive tackle class. And so there's going to be guys that slip through the cracks a little bit. The reason why I had Hamilton slipping through is that he's not a wow athlete.
Right.
He's just a lunch pail player, just a rock-solid defensive tackle. And I think the connection that kind of drew me to this pick, too, he's got an older brother, Ty Hamilton, Davon Hamilton, who was a third-round pick a couple years ago out of Ohio State, defensive tackle, went to the Jacksonville Jaguars. The GM of the Jaguars was Dave Caldwell. Caldwell, now an executive with the Eagles in the front office. So those kind of things, those connections, they matter. They mean something.
I love the fact that, this is what films does. All right? He connects
Connect the dots, man. You got to follow breadcrumbs.
Like, that's a big deal. So, and then you got at 165, Daquan Felton. We talked about him a little bit, but he's an interesting guy.
Yeah.
Because of the size.
Big kid.
And they need, listen, I don't know what Johnny Wilson's going to be. I don't think he's going to be anything, right? Like, you need some size.
I think they got to keep taking swings at receiver.
Yeah.
You want to be able to find guys that can come in and give you value. When I watched Daquan Felton, a couple of things I wrote down. I'm just going to go through just a couple of my things here. They lean on him a lot as a blocker. A lot of screens, runs, and gadgets go his way. Lots of pin blocks on defensive ends. He latches on and runs his feet. As a route runner, he uses his eyes and his shoulders well to sell things at the top of the route. Really good flashes of knowing how to work a blind spot as a route runner. Some explosive traits as an athlete. He was on Bruce Feldman's freak list as one of the top 100 athletes in college football coming into the year. Really strong on contact. A lot of these things feel like Nick Sirianni traits that you look for at wide receiver, the guys that he typically trends towards. And then when you talk about the athletic upside, I'm like, he goes to the Senior Bowl, was down there. These are markers that you typically hear with players that the Eagles select on day 3.
And then to finish it, you got Elijah Roberts, the edge kid. He's an edge from SMU.
Yeah, I really, really like this player. Reportedly was in for a 30 visit here with the Eagles. Heavy hands, really, really violent. He started his career at Miami, transferred a couple years ago to SMU, had double-digit sacks each of the last 2 years. He's not your straight up the field. He's similar to JT Tuimoloau.
Yeah.
He's a very similar player. I would say that he's the Diet Coke version of JTT. When you're looking at Roberts, it's heavy hands, violence, run defense, and he's rotational player in my mind.
All right. Anybody else that you covet?
Oh.
You got a lot of good covets.
I mean, come on.
You got a lot of good
we
covets.
don't have enough time tonight to go through all the guys.
I know. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick TO.
Yep.
Talk about our sponsors, and then we're going to come back and we're going to look at the first round. All right? So we'll go through the first round, your first round mock. So we'll get that up here. And then we'll go Franny's top 5, and then we'll look at guys that Franny covets. We'll wrap up guys that Franny covets for the Eagles. All right? So we'll go position by position. Franny's hearts. All right?
My hearts.
All right? So when you got the hearts, like the way Jules loves the Phillies.
That's it.
You know if anybody loves the Phillies more than her?
No, I don't think so.
I love the Phillies. I was like, I love the Phillies, right? And then I met Julia, our head of production. And then she's like, well, how many Philly slides do you own? How many people have multiple Philly slides?
Yeah. I know one. I know exactly one.
How many do you have? 3? 4. I'm sorry, 4. 4 pairs of Philly slides.
I probably know
I think I have 2 pairs of slides, period.
I think I know 4 people that have 1 pair.
Right.
I have 1 person that has 4 pairs.
Yeah.
But
all Phillies.
Yes, right.
God bless her. She's something. All right. Let's talk about our friends, and let's talk about Ashley Furniture. That's right. You're looking to furnish your house. You're looking, I don't know about you, but, we go through couches. I have 2 animals. 2 big, smelly boys, all right? And my wife, every day, it doesn't fail. Every day I come home and she's bitching about them, right? Like, they destroyed my house. And you're a part of it. I'm like, dude, I'm not even here, man. Like, I'm home at, and I put on a game. Like, I keep to myself. No, right? Here's the deal. I told her last night, Ashley, the low prices are blooming. Spring in savings at Ashley Furniture. Save up to 50% off living rooms, bedrooms, and dining rooms, all right? And you can have it all delivered free. Free delivery. And that's right, no interest financing. Save on top brand mattresses, get free delivery, setup, removal. But look, don't wait, all right? Spring into savings now in Ashley, South Jersey, and Philadelphia, all right? You got to do it. Financing with approved credit, minimum purchase required. Some exclusions may apply. See store for complete details. Hurry to Ashley. Visit ashleyfurniture.com for more information. And we're brought to you by Pabst Light. There it is, right here. Pabst Light. The new light modern beer from Pabst Brewing Company.
Crisp.
Delicious.
Crisp.
96 calories. All right, I'm watching. 3.5 carbs. Full 3.5 grams of carbs. Full, crisp, refreshing flavor. I just tell you, I just had it. I like it. The bubbles, refreshing. We use high-quality ingredients so you can get that high-quality beer at a smart, approachable price. Retains the fun and independent spirit that Pabst is known for, but it's light. All right, learn more about the new Pabst Light at PabstLight.com. Please drink responsibly. You got to be 21 or older.
We got a super chat.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, but can I answer the super chat
I
real
would
quick?
love it, sure.
Rohit Verma sent in a super chat. Are there any players in the draft, this is off our pass rusher discussion, any players in the draft that have a complete set of moves, so speed, power, and counter? Rohit, there are a couple guys that stand out. I would say that the craftiest rushers in this class, I would go with JT Tuimoloau. I would throw him in. I would say that Mike Green, the pass rusher from Marshall, he's got a pretty well-developed pass rush plan. The other guy I would throw in, owns the Boston College kid, Donovan Ezeraku.
Yes.
He's a pretty polished rusher as well. But the guy that really caught my eye, going back and studying, was LSU pass rusher Braden Swinson. So fifth-year senior, started at Oregon, was at Oregon for a couple of years, didn't do anything, goes to LSU 2 years ago, first year there, back up, doesn't produce. This year steps in as a starter, and he was lights out. He was a really good player for that LSU defense. He stands up only to 2-point stance. He's a really skilled rusher. He's athletic, he's explosive, he's loose. But it was only 1 year, and he was suspended for the first half of a game, reportedly butted heads with coaches. Then he goes to the pre-draft process, doesn't do an all-star game. Agent didn't want him to do an all-star game. Didn't work out at the combine, and did partial workout at the pro day. So any momentum he created, the reason, you're saying, I don't know, who's this guy? A lot of our viewers are I haven't heard about Swinson. He's a pass rush from LSU. He had double-digit sacks. All the momentum he had, he lost it. He didn't do anything this pre-draft process. So he could go. If you told me he goes in the second round,
right,
I believe it.
You believe it.
You tell me he goes in the fourth round,
yeah,
I believe it. He's a tricky one to pin down.
Yeah.
Very skilled rusher. He's someone that I look at and I said, when someone takes him, depending on the team and the fit, that could be a big boom in the draft.
Now let me ask you, from an Eagles perspective,
yeah,
how do you see it?
In terms of him?
Yeah.
The thing is that I actually didn't hit this part of it. He looks disinterested in the run.
Yeah.
That doesn't play. That's not playing for
Not
Fangio.
other Vic.
Nope. So that's to me, I think that's why he becomes a hard pass for Vic Fangio and the staff. Now, you might meet with them and say, hey, this is you got to get this going.
But if you want a career,
yeah. Now, maybe he'll just be a designated pass rusher. And if he wants to be Bryce Huff, he could be Bryce Huff, and that might work for some teams. But as we saw this year, that doesn't fly here with this defense.
No. And it's funny because Vic is steadfast when it comes to that.
Yep. I mean, you have to, because how often they play with light boxes. If you're gonna make sure that you always have an extra DB on the field, you're gonna play as much nickel. If you're gonna play with light boxes, then you need your guys that are up front. It can't just be, it's 1 versus 1, I'm gonna lose.
No.
You got to defeat your block and get, because you are -1 in the box. So you need those guys to be able to win.
It's funny you said it. So I had a conversation with somebody, and we were talking about somebody who knows a little about this team and the inner workings. They won because they were tougher than everybody.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They intimidated. Talking to people inside that room, they believed that they were tougher than everybody else. Their mentality was, at some point, you're going to tap out.
Yeah. It's the Jordan Mailata quote from that miking of, I didn't know what was going to break first, your body or your spirit. That's the mentality. And it was that way on both sides of the ball. Nolan Smith, same way. He takes out the best opposing lineman for 2 out of 3 straight playoff games. I mean, that's the mentality. And if you don't bring that,
No.
It's going to be tough to crack the lineup.
It is. To me, that piece of it was just fascinating that they believed that they were tougher.
Yeah.
And that they expected teams to wilt.
Yep.
Which is the Philadelphia dream.
Which is, and like,
oh my God,
the two players that we started the conversation with. When you talk about Mike Green, like that's if I'm doing a Mike Green football card, okay,
yes.
and I'm saying, all right, here's the picture of Mike Green, flip it over. Here are the two or three bullet points. One of the things is this guy is violent and tough. And when I look at Walter Nolen, I say the same thing. I honestly made the comparison to Jalen Carter in this one way with Walter Nolen as well, where if a play goes wrong, let's say a guy gives him an extra shove at the end of the pile, that next play after that, it's like he is cooking off the ball and he is coming to get that guy. He kind of brings that same edge that you get from Jalen, and that plays here in Philly.
It does in a big way. All right. So this brings us as we approach just after 7 p.m. locally. Let's talk about the mock first round. All right?
Yeah.
Let's do our first round mock. What are you feeling? Obviously, Cam Ward goes first.
Yes.
All right? How are you feeling about this? Before we get into everything else, how are you feeling about this draft as far as you locked in on the first round?
As locked in as I'm going to be about a week out. And typically what happens is that you get a load of information from, we'll say, like a week and a half ago, like when pro days start to wind down, up until this point. And then this final weekend happens. Teams have their final meetings. And then there'll be more leakage that comes out. And so I'm anticipating I'm going to have. I know I've got a call scheduled with somebody tonight. I've got a call scheduled over the next few days. So yeah, I would expect that I'm going to have more conversations, get a little bit more intel. But yeah, it's starting to come together. But it's like I said, there are so many wild cards in this class. I mean, we're a week out. I have no idea, with certainty, like what's going to happen at number 5.
Yeah.
Number 6, number 7.
No,
it's going to be interesting.
It's insane. All right.
Let's go through it, though.
All right, let's do it. Number 1's Cam Ward.
Number 1's Cam Ward.
We know that for a fact. All right, so that's the good thing. So, right off the bat, number 2. Now we believe that number 2 is Travis Hunter.
I think it's Travis Hunter.
Yeah, I do too.
I think if it were up to Andrew Berry, I think it would be Abdul Carter.
Yes.
But I don't think it's up to Andrew Berry. I think that it's going to be Travis Hunter.
Yeah,
that's my gut on it.
I heard Hunter too.
Yeah.
Number 3, the Giants. If Hunter goes, then it's got to be Carter.
Yeah, I think it'll be Abdul Carter. I think the Giants would prefer Hunter. I think the Giants would love it if they had Hunter and Carter fall into their lap and they could just take Hunter. That's why I think we're seeing this late private workout with Shedeur.
Yeah.
I think because a lot of the buzz that I heard last week was that Cleveland, they're going to take Hunter at 2, and they would like to get Shedeur to pair with them. And I think that New York hears that same scuttlebutt, and they're like, all right, well, if you want Shedeur, then you got to take him at 2, because otherwise we might take him at 3. I know we just signed Russell. I'm calling their bluff on that.
They're not taking Shedeur.
They can't take Shedeur center.
No way.
You don't sign Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston.
No.
That's not happening.
No.
So I'm calling their bluff on that if I'm Cleveland.
And by the way, if I'm Cleveland, I'm not really in a hurry to do that.
I
mean, I told you before, I don't like Shedeur.
Right.
I'm sorry. I don't think he's any good. I don't think he projects to be, Baldy thinks he could be Andy Dalton,
Who's a solid? Yeah, that's kind of the level I see him at.
Which to me is not, I don't want to use top value.
Yeah. You and I didn't have this conversation in the summer, but when I studied Shedeur in the summer, I was like, yeah, this is the level of quarterback I think he is, right? And he didn't do anything this year to move me off of that.
In fact, I think
in ways he got worse.
Yeah.
In ways he did. Ways he did.
All right, Will Campbell goes 4 to the Patriots.
I'm feeling better for that by the day. I'm not 100% on it. I've heard it could be Armand Membou, the tackle from Missouri. I've heard it could be Mason Graham, the defensive tackle from Michigan. I've also heard that Ashton Jeanty, there's potential there that it could be Jeanty.
Wow, really?
So there's a lot, and that's what I mean. We're a week out, and this is not ironclad, but I do feel best. Most people feel that it would be Will Campbell.
All right. Well, at 5 to Jacksonville, you got Jeanty going 5, even though they need O-line help terribly?
I heard from 2 separate people. 2 separate people said that Jacksonville, Jeanty.
Wow.
So,
All right.
And look, that's who knows? It could be Mason Graham. Most people feel it's Mason Graham,
Right.
the defensive tackle from Michigan.
Yeah.
I think that.
What if Campbell's there?
I think it might still be Jeanty.
Wow, that's wild.
So basically, here's the reasoning behind it.
I did a mock, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
You listen. This is what you do. But I had Graham going 4,
Right.
and then I had Campbell going 5.
Right, which I could see. I could see Campbell going 5. It's definitely on the table. From what I understand, okay, everyone's giving them Mason Graham.
Yeah.
But I think that ownership, they just paid Trevor Lawrence. They want Trevor Lawrence to be as good as possible. They're going to try. They want to put as many pieces of that offense as they can. The GM is a young GM, forward-thinking GM. It's a first-time head coach. There's an offensive head coach. I think it's going to be an offensive pick. I feel offense. I think it's Jeanty, and it might be Will Campbell, but that's going to be an interesting one to watch.
You said something that's interesting to me. You said young GM, forward-thinking GM.
Yeah, he wants to do offense first. But
Here's the thing with these dudes.
I know.
First of all, you win on the fronts.
Yes, correct.
All right?
Yep.
You could be all you want, and I want sexy this and offense that. You got to build the line first, right?
Yep.
You need protection. So if Campbell's not there, all right, I get it. But you go best defensive tackle.
Right.
That's how you win Super Bowls.
Yep.
I mean, this is how he showed you this.
No question.
All right. Let's go. How about this? We got Raiders.
Raiders at 6.
So you're saying if there's no way in the world that Mason Graham's there, they're going to pass him up.
Yeah, I think the Raiders. Everybody's giving them Jeanty. My spidey sense is going off there. That even if Jeanty were there, that they wouldn't take Jeanty. I'm starting to think that that's going to be a defensive player, potentially even a tackle. Mason Graham's a Michigan guy. Tom Brady and John Spytek, the GM, the new GM, both Michigan guys. This is Brady. It sounds like, based off reporting, like he's going to be in the draft room, and he's the one who hired the head coach. He's the one who hired the GM. It's going to be fascinating to see that in that first draft together. A lot of voices in that room.
Yeah, but there's only one that matters, and that's Tom.
Yep.
Tom's going to be active.
It's going to be. Look, they came out from that opening presser. Pete Carroll said, like, everywhere else I've been, it was about like building it the right way. I'm here to win right now. I'm here to compete right now.
Yeah.
So that's why Jeanty does make sense. But I think they've doth protest too much. Like I think it's been too much Jeanty from them, and so that's why I'm thinking like it might be a little smokescreen.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Brady's interesting because I believe that Brady will be a great front office guy.
Yeah.
I believe that.
But the whole dynamic with him and like doing the media stuff, I can't imagine that it's going to continue.
I don't know how.
It doesn't make. He's going to be leading a draft room.
He's great on the air. I like him on the air a lot.
Yeah, I'm fine with him on the air. Yeah.
But I don't know. That's such an unfair advantage.
Very weird. It's very weird.
Like I know he's not allowed in production meetings or whatever.
But still, I mean, you're still in a position to.
Exactly.
And you're at warm-ups. You get access that the other owners aren't getting.
Here's the other thing. Let's just say a certain wide receiver worships Tom Brady.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And let's just say Tom Brady's in your town to do a game. And it's the night before a game. And this receiver's like, oh, my God. And they take him out to visit Tom Brady.
Right.
And then Tom Brady's like, oh, thank you.
Yep.
Oh, whatever. Listen, And what's the next thing Tom Brady's going to say? Hey, maybe, who knows? Maybe I'll get you.
One day I'd love to have you. Yep.
I mean, and there's no tampering, but is there tampering?
Right.
When you're allowing that kind of access, I mean, nothing.
It's a very strange dynamic that I'm surprised has lasted as long as it has.
Yes. All right, number 7, the Jets.
I think this is a 2-player race.
Ooh.
I think this one is crystallized here. I think this is Armand Membou, the right tackle from Missouri, or it's Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State. I think it's one of those 2 players. I did that on Friday, Armand Membou. I think I'd probably lean Warren. as we're sitting here today, if I were to do this mock draft now, I think I would lean this being Tyler Warren.
Wow.
But I think it's one of those two.
The Jets go back into their archives when they took Anthony Becht at the #1 pick. They're going to take Tyler Warren.
Yeah. They took Kyle Brady in the top.
That's right.
Was the top 15?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. Basically, this is a team last year that came down.
I love Warren, so
he's a good player.
Yeah.
Last year, their decision was Olu Fashanu, the left tackle from Penn State, or Brock Bowers. They went with the tackle. Bowers goes on to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I know that they changed coaching staff. I know that they changed front office. Not everybody in that building's different.
Good point. All right, number 8, Carolina. You got them going. Jalen Walker.
Yeah.
From Georgia.
But this has been like the runaway selection in most key mock drafts that you watch or that you read. I don't fully believe that they love him there. I think that they would like to trade. I was this close to giving him Michael Williams, the other Georgia pass rusher. I do think that this is a chance where Walker slides past this spot. I'm not a big Walker guy. And I've been having anytime I talk with people that have been through the Southeast and people around the NFC South, saying, hey, what do you think the Panthers are going to do? Other teams in the top 10. I'm like, I don't know if the Panthers are definitely going to take Jalen Walker. That's going to be an interesting one to watch.
I love it, in your little skinny that you do it. There he is. Look at Mr. Newbeck.
Mr. Newbeck? Oh, beautiful.
Mr. Newbeck. Kyle looks just like him.
I know. That's the thing. I see him walking by. I'm like, oh, that's Kyle Newbeck's dad.
Here, come here real quick. Come on camera. Mr. Newbeck.
Yeah.
Come here. Say hello to the people. Say hello to the people. This is Kyle's dad, all right? We love your son. He does amazing work.
Philadelphia, all 5 sports. It's all that matters. Philadelphia is the shit.
You're the man, brother. You're the man. I love it.
That's outstanding.
Yeah, that's great. All right, number 9. This is interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm interested to get your thoughts here on this one.
Yeah, because
so people are pegging quarterback here.
Yes. So.
I don't think they do quarterback here at 9.
So the Saints and Kellen is in New Orleans.
Yep.
All right. Along with Nussmeier is his OC.
Yep.
He's doing this. He's where Devon Givens in the house. Oh my! All of our great people are here. Love it. So it's funny. We were talking about Jaxson Dart. And I think there is now I can't tell if this is bogus or not, but there has been a late poke holes in Jaxson Dart's game. Suddenly, I'm hearing from teams, I don't know about Jaxson Dart. And there's a lot of negativity surrounding Dart.
Which makes you think they're going the
Well,
other way. Yep.
It's the only thing. Because now I'm hearing it all over, right? I'm like, huh. And this is like the last 2 weeks.
Well,
I don't know if you're hearing the same thing.
Well, so here's my thing. I was talking. There's a scout that I'm friendly with that's in the Southeast, and we're talking, and he covers Mississippi, and we talked in the summer. It was Jaxson Dart, probably a day 3 pick. Don't love the traits. Highly schemed offense. Nice player. Better college quarterback than pro prospect. We get through the season. Day 3 pick, we feel good about it. I get to the Senior Bowl. He was solid down there. I talked to you when I was down there practice, and you said, any quarterbacks? And I was like, solid week, but nothing special. It wasn't until, February when we started hearing, Jaxson Dart could go round 2. Jaxson Dart, maybe he's a surprise first-round pick. And now it's like he could go top 10. I think the whole thing's bogus. I'm not buying that he's going first round.
Well, if he doesn't go here, he's not going first round.
You're right, yeah.
Unless somebody trades up late first round. So I heard that, there was a lot of action on him. And then 2 weeks ago, I started hearing other things.
Right.
Well, they don't really like his attitude.
Okay.
I'm hearing that he doesn't really project.
Interesting.
I don't know if you heard that.
I hadn't heard that, no.
About his demeanor,
okay.
And there's quiet, that sort of thing.
Interesting.
And I'm like, really? Huh. And like, well, you know, and then all of a sudden, like to me, the fact that you played at an elevated offense in Mississippi with Lane shouldn't be a negative. It should be a positive. The fact that you played in that system and you thrived, other than one game, like which game was it? Was the oh god, it was horrible.
The LSU game, he would throw some timely picks.
Yeah. But no, there was the one. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, there was the one clunker. I can pull up.
It was really
the
bad.
game log, yeah.
And people were like, you know. Now all of a sudden, I'm here. But 2 weeks ago, you didn't talk about that game.
Right.
2 weeks ago, you were talking about, I love the way he's a pro, you know.
Sure.
I like him better than Shedeur. I was told, it's not
Florida,
even
that's what it was.
Florida game. Yes.
It was the Florida game, late in the year.
Yes. He said, one guy tells me, he's way better than Shedeur. He'll go ahead of Shedeur easy. I was like, all right. And then I heard from somebody else that he was going to go ahead. Because all the Shedeur but the Shedeur, like, no good was coming out.
Right.
I don't know what to believe.
It's that time of year where,
yeah.
And the thing about it is that we have to remember, and I have to stay disciplined with myself when I'm doing this. Is when I talk to a scout, if I talk to a offensive quality control coach or a quarterback coach, an offensive line coach, whoever it is, a general manager, that is one opinion in a building.
Right.
And you need more than one opinion for a draft pick. Sometimes you need more than one opinion. Sometimes it just takes one opinion from an owner or from a GM to say, like, all right, this is going to be the pick. But the quarterback coach might love Jaxson Dart. But if the offensive coordinator, head coach, and general manager and area scout are like,
yeah,
it might not be Jaxson Dart.
Right.
It's one of the things I always try and remember is like, it's the whole picture that before these guys are selected.
Yeah. I don't know. My gut says they don't take a quarterback, but I don't know. I mean, I know they want. By the way, they need one.
Yeah, right. So when I did my mock, I got through like the middle of the teens by Friday afternoon, and that news broke on Derek Carr Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
All the news and all the intel that I had gotten about the Saints, really all offseason, was that no, they're not going to take a quarterback high.
Yeah.
First round, not going to happen. It's going to be a defensive player. If anything, it'll be a pass catcher. So I said, all right. So I followed up late last week, Friday night, and everyone was like, no, they kind of knew about it. This isn't anything that's going to move the needle. So I'm going to follow my sources there. Maybe I'm wrong. It wouldn't be the first time I'm wrong. But from the people that I talk to that know or they should know, they're like, I don't think it's a quarterback.
Yeah.
So I'm going to follow it.
So
now, second round,
well, okay.
on the board.
So here's the deal.
Right.
So I did hear. Now, listen, I know I bang the drums for the kid. All right, for McCord, I know I do it. But I heard they liked him. I said this 2 months ago or a month ago.
Yep.
Whatever. Where were we in April? 2 months ago.
Right.
They liked McCord.
Right. Yeah.
That would fit second round.
They're going to draft a quarterback. I just don't think it's going to happen at 9. So they're going to draft a quarterback. I don't think it's going to happen at 9. Yep.
We agree.
Yep.
So you haven't taken Will Johnson.
Yeah. Might be a little high for Will Johnson. He fits their profile. He fits the scheme with Brandon Staley. That's one that I feel that there's a decent chance. The Saints are usually a very predictable. They are a great microcosm of this whole draft because usually the Saints are pretty predictable. Most mock drafts, you have a good idea of where they're going. Mock drafts are all over the board on the Saints. No one knows where they're going right now. It's again, a good look inside this draft.
All right, so let's go to 10. And let's see. At 10, you got – who do you got at 10?
10, I've got the Chicago Bears were in the spot, and they trade out.
Oh, wow.
The Indianapolis Colts make a move up to get their tight end.
You got to try. I love the trade.
That's it. 7-round mocks with trades. Those are hard to come by.
I know.
You only get those if you're a diehard.
Yes.
That's why you got to become a diehard. But Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State, goes off the board there. And look, the Indianapolis Colts last year.
But I thought you had you have the Jets. I thought you took the Jets.
Well, I had Membou in the mock draft.
Oh, right.
So the Colts would be out of luck at this point if we were doing a mock draft just sitting here.
Okay.
But in the mock draft, I had the Colts trading up and selecting Tyler Warren here in the spot. They tried everything they could to get Brock Bowers last year, man. They tried to move heaven and earth. They offered pretty substantial trade compensation to get up into the top 10 to take him, and they could not get a bite. No one wanted to move. And so they obviously they could not take him. They take the Leatu, the pass rusher. Here they get their tight end. They need another playmaker in that offense.
All right. At 11, you got the Niners. This is interesting.
Yeah, this is a tough one.
Jahdae Barron.
I don't love Barron.
Yeah.
So this is a. I'm reading. I'm
thinking
going
this
off
is
what
high,
I'm hearing.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm going off what I'm hearing here. Barron, I think, makes some sense for the way that they want to play. He fits their ethos. He fits their play personality defensively, the type of player they've gone with. The one connection I thought was really interesting. My comp for Jahdae Barron, one guy I wrote down, is one of the biggest villains in Philadelphia sports history, Rondé Barber.
Wow.
He's an undersized corner, zone heavy, inside outside, like very to me like he'd be a perfect Tampa 2 corner. But the Tampa 2 doesn't exist as a defensive scheme in today's NFL. So he's going to be a nickel corner. I think he's okay. I don't love Jahdae Barron. Now, there are people that love him. People that think he's Brian Branch and think that he's one of those guys. I don't see that personally. But Bruce Feldman, one of the best there is, college football insider for The Athletic, he did a mock draft last week, and he said one player that has been compared to Jahdae Barron is Rondé Barber. His teammate in Tampa Bay is now the GM. And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, man, that's I was like,
that's pretty good.
And I love that because I was like, oh, this is my comp for him. Yeah. And Bruce was able to connect those dots there. And I've also he's not the first to mock them there.
Yeah.
That is a tea leaves selection for me.
I like it. Let's do one more and then we'll take a quick break.
Let's do it.
This is fascinating. All right. So the Cowboys.
Yep.
And they have been an unmitigated disaster, which we love, right? Like, obviously, to hear Emmitt Smith say, I'm tired, just go Birds, this is the greatest thing in the world, right? Like, honestly, it doesn't get better than the Cowboys, who are a mess, and that they're worried about the Eagles. Like, it's the greatest thing in the world. So, they're a mess. Now, you got them taking McMillan.
Yep.
Who I like.
They want to take a pass catcher. Is everything I've heard is that they want a pass catcher. Offensive playmaker, but primarily a pass catcher. The thing is, I don't love the value there at 12. So it's a matter of, do they trade down? Do they get an offer to trade down? If they can't trade down, do they stick and just take the best pass catcher they can? Some people think it's going to be Matthew Golden, the wide receiver from Houston, from Texas.
I like McMillan better than Golden.
I do too, and I think that he fits more of what they typically look for. Dallas in years past, they have not been afraid of guys that didn't test great.
Yeah.
They like big, physical,
football players.
Yeah. That fits McMillan. They don't need him to be the number one. CeeDee Lamb is that guy, but they want a running mate.
But you know what's funny for them? They still don't have a running back.
I know.
Like, listen, you get the whole draft to take one, but if you're the Cowboys, don't you try to trade up to get Jeanty? Like, I love Jeanty. Like, because here's the thing. I watch those games live in addition to all the tape. They didn't have a great offense. They didn't have a great O-line.
He's a phenomenal player.
Right? Like, he gets yards after contact. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
I mean, if I'm the Cowboys and I'm at 12, I do whatever I can to trade up to get him.
So the only thing with me that holds me from thinking they'll do it is that they've, over the last couple of years, basically since that they drafted Zeke at 4 and then they paid him that big contract. And Jerry has said multiple times since then.
Yeah, he's off running backs. Yeah.
He's like, the investment in the position.
Yeah.
So to not just draft one in the first round again,
trade up, use
but
assets.
to trade up to move, it would be you have to give up a lot.
I think you're right.
Some people think they could take Hampton. Mel Kiper has given him Hampton and the running back from North Carolina in like 3 straight mock drafts. He's really the only person in big draft media that's done it. Could it happen?
Yeah.
Sure, but everything I've been hearing has been pass catcher.
Yeah, I'm with you in that, I don't think they'll do it, but I think they should.
Right.
Yeah. Far be it from me because I enjoy their, their misery. All right, let's take a quick TO. tell you about some of our friends, and then we'll get back to it. Continue our mock.
Let's do it.
This is a blast, man.
Time's
just
flying.
great
Come on.
stuff, dude. Great stuff. Franny Films. All right, let's talk about TrueMark Financial Credit Union. All right, TrueMark. Folks, it's Financial Literacy Month, and I got something that's going to help you really off the field. All right, I got 2 kids who don't know they don't know what a dollar is. Okay, the other day, Massimo's, I got to get him a new bat. Well, his old bat busted, so I got to go through the process of getting that replaced because the thing was expensive.
What are they? I was just gonna say, what are they running now?
$350.
Oh,
Yeah. So he's like,
that is so much more than I thought you were gonna say.
no. So he says to me, Daddy, while I'm waiting, can I just get a new bat? And I'm like, no. He goes, I want this. I forget what one he was looking at. It was $399.
Oh,
I said, dude, no, you're going to get this one replaced. I'm working on it. Relax. My God. And then I got Anthony who eats. Well, so what? He came out. You know what my pet peeve? All right.
that?
So we're at Wawa, and he comes out. He runs in, right? He comes out, and he's got a bag, a Wawa bag. That costs 50 cents. Why are you buying?
Well, I was gonna say, what did he have in it that he couldn't carry?
Well, listen, he had all the stuff in it, right? Like, I don't begrudge him that.
You're right.
I begrudge him the bag. Dude, 50 cents. You don't understand. Not to mention, in the car, we got bags.
You're right, yeah.
Because Jersey, there's no bags.
Mm-hmm.
So do yourself a favor. If your kids are like mine, teach your kids how to handle their money. If you're a TrueMark Financial member, all right, like I am, you got a fantastic opportunity to help your kids and teens learn to earn, save, and spend wisely with a free Greenlight account. Now, Greenlight isn't just any other app, right? It's a game changer for your kids. So whether they're setting saving goals, learning how to track their spending, getting their allowance, it's all right there on their fingertips. And get this, each kid has their own debit card. So they can make purchases, learn to budget, build real-world money skills while you stay in control from your phone. So you get peace of mind, and they get a chance to make smart, responsible choices with their money. All right, so if you're looking for a way to teach your kids some financial plays this Financial Literacy Month, I can't recommend this enough. It's like training for life's biggest game. Head on over to TrueMark.com/Greenlight. All right, you get all the details. Sign up today. Don't miss the chance to set your kids up for financial success. And, oh my, Parks Casino. Street Road, Ben Salem. One of the many things that you love about Parks Casino, besides the sports book, the poker room, all the award-winning restaurants, is the Excite Center. Incredible acts, boxing, MMA, comedy, musical, number one stuff. Pennsylvania's #1 casino, located right here to Philadelphia in Ben Salem. Street Road exit off I-95 and the PA Turnpike. The Excite Center is the state-of-the-art entertainment venue located inside Parks Casino. Named one of the best places to see the country's best comedians and music headliners. Visit Parks Casino to buy tickets for all shows. Pre-game the shows at their amazing beer garden. Play some pop culture slots, roulette, cards, other table games while you love, right? While you wait. It's a great time. Parks Casino, this is how you win. You got to be 21. You have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, my brother. Let's continue. So we left off of the Cowboys.
Cowboys at 12.
13, the Arizona Cardinals on the clock.
Yeah, I had them trading up into this spot. They were at 16. Anytime I've done a mock this offseason, I have struggled to find a good fit for Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenford at 16. So there I had them trading up to select the pass rusher Mykel Williams from Georgia. I think that the ceiling for Mykel Williams is 8. There have been some people that thought that he could fall into striking range for the Eagles. I just think that he's one of the cleaner rushers in this class.
Yeah.
I do think that he's probably out of the Eagles' range. I think he'd be off the board. 18 to Cincinnati, probably the latest he would go would be my guess. 21 to I think it's 21 to wherever the Packers are picking. That would be the absolute furthest. I just don't envision him falling much further than that.
All right. That's interesting. What you're talking about right now, and this is going to be the wild card in the draft, it's the beauty, we said it earlier, about the beauty being the eye of the beholder for these players. Really, after 8, like I would say, Warren, Walker, like once you get after that, like it's really
there's a drop.
There's
a drop, and then I would say that one of the things that you're hearing from a lot of like the insider types, a lot of the reporters, the anonymous quotes, is there's not a lot of difference between the 10th pick and the 40th pick in this draft.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what does that mean for the market, the trade market here this year. It's going to be very interesting next week.
All right, at 14, you have the Bears trading up for Shemar Stewart from A&M.
Yeah, they traded back because they were in the 10th spot. They were in the 10th spot. Bears trade back, take Shemar Stewart. I don't know what you've heard on Stewart. Big, long, explosive pass rusher. Looks the part. Looks like an Adonis.
There's issues there.
Yeah, I mean, 1.5 sacks each year. 1.5 sack last year, 1.5 sacks the year before. He had 4.5 sacks in his entire career. I just, for a guy with those traits, to have that severe level of production, and it's not just pass game, like run game as well, I just can't buy into that high. That said, he's going to go high. He's going to go in the top 20.
Here's the problem. You got to love the game.
Right. Yeah.
You got to love the play.
Yep.
Can't take plays off.
I struggle with him. When I watched him in the fall, I thought this guy's a day 3 pick. Personally, that was me personally. And I watched a little bit more, and I'm like, all right, I see the traits, I see why he's exciting, but I just can't get there personally.
Yeah. So you got Emmanuel Worry going here at 15.
Yes.
We obviously love him. It's interesting you got to take on to Atlanta this spot.
Best player available teams, like through and through Atlanta. The last 2 years they have surprised people in terms of who they picked. They'll go off the board and just say we're going to go strict best player available. He fits a lot of the markers we've seen from that team in the last few years under Terry Fontenot, the GM, and so that was one I think that could be a sneaky one. I would expect a surprise with the Falcons. Everyone thinks pass rusher because they've needed a pass rusher since I was in high school, but I don't know that they're going to force it. If the best player on the board is a pass rusher, they'll take him, but they're not going to force it.
16 Miami, you got them taking Kelvin Banks, the tackle out of Texas.
Yeah, they're originally at 13, the Miami Dolphins. They trade back here. They take the tackle. This is a team, their GM, Chris Greer, and the head coach, Mike McDaniel, both came out right after the season ended at that postseason press conference. Said, it's time for us to invest in the offensive line. Teron Armstead retires.
It was a nightmare, too. I mean, you want to talk about why their offense just completely sputtered and then stalled.
Yep.
They couldn't protect Tua.
And I don't love Banks personally, but he's a good scheme fit, and he fits when you look at Chris Greer first-round picks, he's been there like 8 years now. 7 of their 8 first-round picks, underclassmen, they're juniors from Power 5 schools with athletic traits. Kelvin Banks, check.
Here's the only problem with him. That line was a great line.
Yep.
He had a great line next to him.
Yep.
I'll ask you this, see what you heard, because I hear inconsistent.
I don't love his. To me, he looks like a round 2, round 3 type tackle than a round 1 tackle. He was being talked about as a top 10 pick.
At one point,
it was like top 5 guy.
Yeah, he was top 5 guy.
Yeah, I watched him against Michigan. It was like week 2. I watched that tape that Saturday or that Sunday, I guess, or before the Eagles played. And I said, there's no way this guy is a top. This is not the top 10 pick.
No.
He has no power. He's not a guy that's going to move you off the ball. He's a zone blocker, through and through from that standpoint. And I worry, honestly, his anchor. Those guys were rocking him on contact with their bull rushes. He's a great kid. He's athletic. You can get stronger.
Yeah.
I just think it'll take time. And so to me, he's more of at best, a mid-first round pick as opposed to what they were talking about before. I would agree with you.
17, you got the Bengals taking Walter Nolen. So the Bengals desperately need
defensive playmakers.
Yes.
Yeah, and they've spent a lot of time with him. It was pointed out to me within the last couple of weeks. Last year, any guys that they spent a lot of time with, they drafted 3 or 4 of those guys. Walter Nolen's one of those guys this year they spent a lot of time with, and they haven't had one of those players since Geno Atkins. That is the ceiling, in my opinion, for Walter Nolen. I think his talent deserves higher than that, but just based off what I'm hearing, 17 is the highest he would go to Cincinnati, and I had him going in that spot.
Yeah. All right. At 18, the Seahawks. Campbell.
Yep.
Alabama.
Seattle being talked a lot about it with offensive line, but I think that they might wait there. That's another team where John
I like
Schneider
their young defense.
They
too.
could surprise you, and
Yeah.
Campbell would fit that defensive scheme.
He would.
Yeah.
In a big way. So at 19, you got the Buccaneers going edge.
Ezeraku, the local kid from South Jersey.
Which high school did he go to?
Was he Woodbridge? Hold on one sec, I got you.
I think it was Woodbridge. I think you're right.
Again, Zach Berman is sitting there saying, "Fran, how do you not know this?" He was Williamstown. It's Williamstown.
Oh wow! All
Ulster
right.
County. When you're looking
It's
at
right near me.
when you look at Ezeraku, undersized, he's short, compact player. He's got longer arms than you would expect for a guy at 6'2.5", but just not a wow athlete, not super explosive off the ball, doesn't have a power element to his game. Crafty rusher, I think he does change things up well, but I worry about the run game, and I just don't, for a guy that size, I just want a little bit more juice. That said, the Tampa Bay Bucks love guys that produce.
Yeah.
Jason Light, that GM, he wants guys that put up numbers, and as Rocco, the production speaks for itself.
Yeah, I'm with you. At 20, now this is interesting.
Yep.
Because you got the Broncos going with Hampton.
I've heard
Now,
there's a lot of love there.
Are they done with the North Carolina running backs?
Yeah. Well, look, the last one, Javonte Williams got hurt. Javonte Williams got hurt, and he obviously was not the same player after that. It was his second big injury.
Yeah.
Hampton, I've heard. Look, the highest you hear with him is 12 to the Dallas Cowboys. The lowest I've heard is maybe the Chargers. But I think that's probably the furthest he would fall. I've heard the love for Denver with Hampton is real, and so I'm going to go with Hampton in that slot.
All right. I love what they're doing there. Well,
Yeah.
Knicks, it's funny, we were talking about quarterbacks. If Knicks was in this draft, he would be the number one pick.
I agree. I really liked Knicks last year. So
Yeah.
I would agree with you.
Yeah. You got the Steelers going with Harmon.
Yeah, passing on the quarterback, passing on Shedeur Sanders. Here's my thing. I've been doing this for over a decade now.
Yep.
And Mike Tomlin, if I were to take head coaches and rank them in terms of their very clear and distinct love for the pre-draft process, Mike Tomlin would be number one. He is front and center at the front of every Senior Bowl practice, every rep. He's hanging on the edge of his seat. He's at every pro day he can get to, hand in hand with his GM. Doesn't matter who the GM is. Walking, coffee, donuts every pro day. Combine, he's right there on the edge of his seat. Shedeur Sanders has his showcase last week. They didn't have their head coach. They didn't have the GM. They didn't have their offensive coordinator. They didn't have the quarterback coach. No one made the trip out to Colorado. Now, here's the thing on top of that, too. I say that all the interest of the pro day stuff, that has been a theme in Pittsburgh. You know how the Eagles brought a guy in for a visit? That's usually a sign of interest. There was a long stretch where every single first and second round pick, Mike Tomlin and the GM were at the pro day. So it's if he's there, he's showing interest. The fact that Mike Tomlin, for a quarterback, wasn't there at the showcase, that sends alarm bells off for me. I'm not buying this interest here. I don't think they're taking a quarterback. And honestly, all the intel that I'm getting is that it's defensive tackle for them and not quarterback.
I would agree. I would agree with you. I think that's smart.
We'll see.
22, the Chargers. You got them. You got Harbaugh going one of his guys.
Pass catcher. Yep.
Colston Loveland.
Yep. I've heard pass catcher for them. If Tetsuo McMillan falls here, I think it could be McMillan.
Yeah.
But Colston Loveland.
Lord knows they need
another guy.
They need help bad.
Yes. Yeah, they need another guy. Lad McConkey had a good rookie year.
Great year.
Good player. He's a good player. But they want to continue to add weapons there for Justin Herbert. So
in fact, they need two new weapons.
I was just going to say that. I think I gave them 2 in the first 3 rounds.
Yeah.
So I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Packers. Kenneth Grant. I actually like this pick. I like Grant.
Yeah. Light feet for a big man. That's hard to find. I always felt like there was something missing when I was watching him. Like, it's just he hasn't put it all together. Doesn't mean that he's never going to.
Dude,
young player.
I thought they played. Listen, I thought that defense was decent. I know they had a bad year and all, but they couldn't score.
Right,
they
the
had
offense was
horrible.
Yeah, right.
Their defense was good.
Yeah, defense was pretty good. And Will Johnson gets hurt and he doesn't come back. And when I look at Grant, I just see like a big, light-footed nose tackle, good run defender. But it's almost like he's a guy where you need someone to light a fire under him.
Yeah.
If he ever gets that like killer instinct, he'll be unstoppable.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it's there.
Yeah.
If you can pull it out of him, you're cooking with gas.
Yeah. No, I think you're spot on there. Speaking of, we have one of those here in Jordan Davis.
Yeah.
I had somebody tell me that they liked the way he played in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, but it was still limited snaps.
Right. That's the thing, and it's if he's going to have opportunity, right? You lose Milton Williams.
It's right there in his lap.
There's going to be opportunity there to pick up more snaps. We'll see what they do in the draft. My guess is if they draft a Walter Nolen, someone in the first round like that, he reverts back into that role. But if not, there's going to be snaps there for him to take.
Yeah. I'll tell you this. I'd rather have Walter Nolen.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
All right, now this is where you have the next quarterback, the second quarterback of the draft going.
Yeah.
Kevin Stefanski. Dude, I love Kevin.
Yep.
I still can't believe he's going to take Shedeur.
I don't know if it's up to him.
I know.
I don't know if it's up to him.
I know.
So that's the tough part.
I know. I just don't see it.
Yeah. I will say, if anyone's going to get good play out of Shedeur early, I do think that Stefanski's a coach that could get it out of him. They need to build up that offensive line, continue to help there because it's not the group that it was a couple years ago. But I do think that when you look at Shedeur Sanders, there's holes in his game as we discussed. It's a matter of if you're the Cleveland Browns, if you think the Giants are a team that's interested, if you think the Raiders, the Saints, whoever it is, to trade back up, you are playing chicken with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Do you believe the Steelers will take him at 21? If you don't, how far are you willing to let him fall? I think that if you get to that spot, the Minnesota Vikings are a team that would feel urgency to trade out. They've got 4 picks going into Thursday.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a prime spot for any team to try and make a move up.
What did you make of the Rodgers interview today with Pat McAfee?
I make of it that a week from now, he's going to make some news when we're getting ready for the draft and we're going to hear he's signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Or retired.
I don't think he's retired. I know he put it out there, but I don't.
I think he's going to sign with the Steelers either Wednesday or Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
And steal the headlines for the draft.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
He wants every broadcast when everyone's talking NFL draft. He wants to lead with Aaron Rodgers. That's my gut.
What happened to him? He was never always like this.
It's a hell of a country. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I can't help it.
And I love McAfee.
But very good at what he does.
It's just that he just feels the need to, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's funny because that's Favre was the same way.
Right, I know.
That's why the idea. Favre scroll.
That's why the idea that he would go to Minnesota before is just so.
I know.
It's so perfect.
It is.
Yeah, I agree.
And do you remember when he went to Minnesota and how great he played?
Right. Yep.
And he reverted at the end to being who he is.
Yeah.
Right. He was Icarus, flying too close to the sun.
Right.
He didn't need to throw that pass. Mm-hmm. It gets picked off, and he loses the game.
Yep.
He's winning that game.
Yep.
They're going to the Super Bowl. Amazing. You got the Texans taking Tyler Bucker.
Yeah, I love this fit.
I think that's a good. They need O-line help.
Yep.
I think in a bad way.
Yeah, in a bad way, and he's a culture setter. Everything you hear about him off the field is outstanding.
Yes.
With Tyler Booker, true junior, powerful mauler. Honestly, like if he fell to the Eagles, I wouldn't hate that. I wouldn't hate that pick at all. I would love that.
Dude, I'm with you.
People are down on him because he didn't test well at the combine.
Nah, I don't care about that.
I don't care.
Yeah.
He is powerful. He is a bulldog. Great kid. I would love that.
Yeah, I'm with you. Chiefs.
Trading up.
So, Andy never wanted to shy away from character.
Yep. I just struggled with where to put Mike Green, man. Like that's why I was like, all right, like Kansas City makes sense. No one has Kansas City taking Mike Green. This one was just a feel, and I wrote in the write-up. I was like, maybe he reminds me of Trent Cole.
Yeah.
Similar body type.
Yeah.
Similar play personality.
Yeah, but they need O-line help more than anything.
I know. A lot of people have been linking them to Josh Simmons, the tackle we talked about from Ohio State, and I could definitely see that. There's a lot of the other tackles I don't quite see the fit there, but Simmons is the other guy.
I mean, let's face it. Eagles won that game. They were better, much better, but they were dominant up front.
Yep. Yeah.
You got to protect. Like, that was it. Yep. And Andy knows how to build a line.
Right.
That's twice he's been in the Super Bowl with Mahomes with a bad line.
I know.
27. John Harbaugh going Malaki Starks.
Yeah. Classic Ravens pick.
Yes.
Yeah, you pair him with Hamilton.
Yeah.
Guys that don't test well, fall down to the
football players.
That's it.
That's a Harbaugh piece. Oh my God. Malaki Starks. You know what's funny? The Cooper play. So I was talking to a guy, and he was telling me a story about Henry goes up to him and says, "Yo, you guys are no."
Oh yeah, right. Yep.
I think I told you this.
Yeah,
like they were impressed. They were impressed. Like the Ravens were impressed.
Right.
That's what I loved about it.
Something. Hell yeah, absolutely.
Donovan Jackson goes to the Lions.
Lions pick all day.
Yes.
Big physical guard, selfless player.
Yes.
I think that's they need interior line help. That makes a lot of sense.
So you know what's funny? We're going to talk about the Commanders in a second. Do you sense a fall coming to the Commanders? Now,
Yes and no. So I think that, as I was watching that team in the fall, I was like, this team's going to be a problem. They're well coached. Obviously, Jaden Daniels. I have a lot of faith in Dan Quinn and that defense, the way he coaches those guys up. I thought he got a lot out of limited talent last year. I do think they're probably going a little too fast. I would say they're probably going like 65 and 35 right now, trying to get these vets in. I didn't mind the Tunsil trade. The Debo trade, we'll see. I kind of want to see it all come together. We'll see that obviously they gave up capital for Marshawn Lattimore as well. What I was interested about going to the Combine, I wrote down on the flight out there, I said, all right, I'm going to write down one question I want to ask every single head coach or GM about just like the draft process, knowing all their trends and all that. So one thing, last year they drafted a bunch of captains. They had like 8 picks and they drafted 6 guys who were captains, like A+ character, culture setters. That was the theme of the Commanders last year. So you get to the NFC title game, you're so close. There's 2 ways you can go about it. Do you want to double down, say, hey, this is what we did last year, it did so well for us, let's do it again? Or it's like, hey, this guy's a great talent, James Pierce Jr., right? Hey, James Pierce Jr. is great talent, would be a great fit. He could be their Micah Parsons, but not that kind of character guy. But we're so close. Let's just go and get it.
Yeah.
So talked to him about it at the Combine. And he said, when we had our exit meetings after we lost to Philly, all the vets came into my office, and one of the things they said was we loved the type of guys that you bought in the draft last year. All those young guys, they fit so well. Big reason why we had all the success. So that just made us more convicted in our process.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, they are going to draft high character guys. And so when I look at it, Benjamin Morris in the corner from Notre Dame is a great kid.
Yeah.
Press man corner fits that scheme.
Yeah.
Injuries a concern, but I thought that was a great fit.
Yeah, I'm with you. Bills, you got taking Maxwell Hairston, kid from Kentucky.
He's going to first round. I've heard a lot of good things about it. Some people think he could be the second corner off the board. So we'll see. Very gifted player. To me, one guy I wrote down while watching him was Ronald Darby, where I think he's got traits. I think he can be a little bit of a frustrating player. I think that there are times
good
where
call.
he get a little grabby. The run defense is up and down. Darby went in the top 50.
Yeah.
I think this guy's going to go a little bit higher than that, but I think when you're looking at him, he's definitely got traits to be a starter in this league.
That's a good comp. That's a really good comp, actually.
I felt good about that one.
So it's interesting because now you got the Rams.
Yep, they trade down, and that's what they were. That's who the Chiefs traded up to
with
get Mike
Kansas City,
Green,
right.
so the Rams are picking this spot. Yep.
So
This could be the Mason Taylor as we were talking about.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Because you got him taking a Buka. So could you go with Taylor here?
Could be Mason Taylor there.
Will you? Now, when will you do your final?
Wednesday night.
Okay.
I'm going to make some calls. I got a lot of conversations still to have. So I'll feel around on the Mason Taylor one. That would make some sense. I don't know. Who knows if I have the Chiefs trading up, if the Rams are in that spot, and I do that final mock. I do know that the Rams, obviously, the Rams love to trade. So I think they'd be open to a deal. I do love the fit for Egbuka. I think that makes a lot of sense for them, and I could see them seeing him as a Cooper Kupp replacement.
Yeah.
Obviously, they signed Devontae Adams, but is that a long-term play? But Mason Taylor would make a lot of sense for them as well.
Yeah. All right, and then you got
Eagles trading out.
Yeah, it's amazing. You got them trading out. Jacksonville grabs Simmons.
Yeah, Jacksonville moves up. The Eagles move down to 36. They take Scourton. We talked about it earlier. And the Jaguars take Simmons because they passed on O-line at 5th overall.
Listen, you get Scourton and who's Arroyo. Oh, my God.
I feel good about that.
I would be thrilled doing cartwheels over that. All right, let's do this final exercise because we only got about 5 minutes left of the show.
Okay.
Let's do the 10 players that you covet for the Eagles in a realistic way.
Okay.
All right, so you can't have all first and second round guys.
All right, deal.
All right.
Let's go.
Number 1.
Walter Nolen.
Yep.
All right, so we'll go to Walter Nolen there.
Okay.
Malaki Starks.
I like it.
I would be very in on Malaki Starks. I'd be fine with Scourton at 32.
Okay.
If they were forced to stay put,
Yeah.
I think that's a fine use of a resource on a young, productive pass rusher at 32. Trying to decide if I'm going to go with another first-round pick or not. No, I think that will be it for me for the first-round guys. Let's go to the day 2 types. I personally love Arroyo.
Yeah.
He's my second-rated tight end in this group. Like I like him more than Loveland. I have him over Taylor. I think he's so dynamic.
Wow.
So I would be over the moon for Arroyo.
Wow. I like Arroyo too, but I love Taylor.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would be over the moon for Arroyo. So let's put Arroyo there. Let's see. You know what? If Tyler Book, no, you know what? Let's go with Gray Zabel, offensive line from North Dakota State. He would be another one that would be an option at 32.
I asked you about him last time.
Yeah, I like Zabel a lot.
Yeah.
You know, he was a guy when I watched him in the fall for the first time. I thought this guy looks like a first-round pick all day. Compared him to Graham Barton, who went in the first round of the Bucks last year, had a really good rookie year at center out of Duke. He was a college left tackle. Same thing with Zabel. He's played 4 out of the 5 positions along the front. I do think he can come in and compete at right guard. Some people view him as center, but I think he's big enough to play guard and stick at guard. So, and he can get you out of a game at tackle. So, to me, he has the versatility you like. Just a safe player. Just a clean film. Great Senior Bowl. I thought he was the best player in Mobile. Really good combine. I just feel really good about the player. So I'll put Zabel on that list. This would be a couple trade down options. Let's go Landon Jackson, pass rusher from Arkansas.
Yeah.
And let's go JT Tuimoloau, the passer from Ohio State. I would put both those guys in the same bucket. I feel that, honestly, I've got those two and Scourton all jumbled up together.
Right.
So I would be remiss if I didn't mention those two guys. Landon Jackson, I think there's some Josh Sweat there.
Yeah.
He's long. The way they were used in college is very similar. They're tight to the tackle, not line up out wide and just go. He's a good run defender, great kid, young, has had production in the SEC. So I like Landon Jackson, and we talked about Tuimoloau already from Ohio State. So we'll add those guys to the list.
8, 9, 10.
8, 9, 10. You know, that safety, because I feel like they got to add a safety, right?
Yeah, they have to.
The 2 guys I really like on day 2. Really, I could say 3, but the 2 guys I like most. Jonas Sanker from Virginia is a guy I'm very high on. I think that he could be a starter. I would say probably a 3rd-round pick. Now, you might have to move up in the 3rd round. You might have to move and shake a little bit. But to me, he feels like a 3rd-round pick to me. Solid starter all day. Just check all the boxes. Run defense, pass coverage, zone, man. He's smart. He's tough. I really like Jonas Sanker. Xavier Watts.
Yep.
Safety from Notre Dame. Outstanding production the last 2 years.
I love that kid.
Yeah. He was a captain the last 2 years, All-American.
I love that profile.
Yes.
They're my kind of kid. That's my kind of kid.
He's an okay athlete for a post safety. A lot of people think of like, oh, he's a center field. He's got great range.
No.
It's all instincts with him.
Yeah, he's a football player.
He's a great kid.
Yeah.
He got to clean up the tackling, some missed tackles, but not for a lack of 1-2. I think that it's all there. So I would go with those 2 guys.
All right. I like it. All right, listen. That's going to do it for us. I got to thank a lot of people, okay? So first of all, we got to thank Jules because Julia Hoff is the greatest. She's our head of production here at PHLY, making sure everything went smoothly and smashingly here at JD McGillicuddy's. We love it here in Manayunk. What a great spot.
Awesome.
It's an awesome kind of fun place to be. Food's great. Beers like our Pabst Light. Just a fantastic, great time, man. Great people, bartenders. The people here are fantastic. This is the New Beck's local, all right? So you'll run into the New Beck's.
When we lived in Manayunk, we used to come here all the time, my wife and I. I have not been here in so long.
That's fantastic.
It's been a while.
So we want to thank everybody, all of our sponsors, and, of course, everybody here at JD McGillicuddy's. And great job, Chris and Rick. Thank you. For all the support. We appreciate it. Nick, good to see you, Nick. Thank you for your support. And we were just shouting you out, man.
All the Newbecks.
We love the Newbecks. Vince Pellegrini, our fine GM. So, listen, become a diehard. I always say it all the time. And do us a favor, subscribe to our YouTube channel. I can't tell you. Listen, I've worked with the best of football media. I've worked with... I know lots and lots of people in the league. There's very few true football men out here. Fran Duffy is that. Besides being an awesome guy, you know how I feel about you.
Thank you.
Every time I see him, I want to tackle him. That's my.
That is very true. He's not lying about that.
But that's true. Like, that's out of love. If I don't like you, I don't want to tackle you. Like the bro just walked in. I want to tackle the bro because I love the bro. Right? So, but Franny, I absolutely adore you. You do incredible work. I'm so proud that you're on this network and we work together. You're awesome.
Thank you.
People need to check his work out. It's awesome. We got you covered, man. We got a big week ahead of us, all right? So let's have some fun. Let's geek out, nerd out over the draft. Franny's going to be the captain and take us through it, all right? So hopefully you enjoyed this and look at all of our content, allphly.com and the All PHLY YouTube channel. So everybody have a wonderful night. All right, we love you. We're thankful for you, and we'll see you in the morning.
We all silly like the mayor.